Empoleon's game plan is the simplest in the entire game. Connect with Aqua Jet. Hit, block, armor, it doesn't matter. All of its moves are simply designed to let it do that, or to stop other moves that prevent it from doing that. Now, you can try to argue with me that that's not the case. You will lose. Let's go over the top 5 moves in field phase. First, we have side Y. This can be canceled into forward Y. This is primarily just to get you some lateral movement, and it sends out those hitboxes to get opponents just to block long enough so that you can get them to block Aqua Jet. I'll talk quite a bit about that move. And neutral Y is also pretty good. Neutral Y can combo into Aqua Jet. I don't have this in the top 5 moves, but this move will combo into Aqua Jet. So that combos right into Aqua Jet. Also of note, neutral Y into Aqua Jet is much more likely to poke through counterattacks than just Aqua Jet itself. This will get them to stay still long enough so that they might block a neutral Y, or that they can actually block the Aqua Jet raw. Now let's talk about Aqua Jet. Why have I hyped it up so much? Well, Empoleon really is a one-move character. Its entire game plan revolves around this. This is how Aqua Jet works. There are 3 levels of Aqua Jet. There is level 1, this is when you're point blank, when you're a little farther away. Level 2, that does a little bit more hits and more block stun. And then there's level 3. This is for max distance, ton of hits, and ton of block stun. Frame data. Level 1 is 15 frame startup, minus 20 on block. Level 2, 19 frame startup, minus 16 on block. And then level 3 is 27 frame startup, minus 4 on block. But since you can cancel all these, them being minus isn't really too important. Using Aqua Jet puts you into the Aqua Jet stance, and you can do 4 different actions from it. Aqua Jet Y, that is cut. It is minus 4 on block. Aqua Jet X, this is waterfall, minus 37 on block, it says in the frame data. Aqua Jet B, this is surf, minus 8 on block. You could also transition this move into aerials. It can be kind of risky to do that. And then Aqua Jet A, this is Rock Smash. Now, let's get into Rock Smash starting off because it is the best move from Aqua Jet. And the other moves are really to stop the things that stop Rock Smash. So, Rock Smash is plus 4 on block. And it has counter armor when it's starting up, so if opponents are trying to retaliate, they'll get hit in critical hit. However, opponents can jump away from the Aqua Jet, and if they use the move, they can come down and punish. Also, even at max distance level 3, which has the most block stun, opponents can grab you out of Rock Smash. So here's the deal. These other moves are designed to stop that. So Aqua Jet Y is cut. That'll be the grab. Aqua Jet X, waterfall, beats grab, and surf, beats grab. Now, here are the downsides with those moves. This move, Aqua Jet X, that's minus 37 on block. This move really is only to be used for going through counterattacks like mid-screen. So if somebody's like counterattacking mid-screen, CADCing, if you hit them into a water, or if you hit them with Aqua Jet in the middle of that, then you should cancel as fast as you can into that, because that will be able to poke through their counter frames. So we mostly rolled out Aqua Jet X. Aqua Jet Y, we have that move that's minus 4, and then we have Aqua Jet B, which is Surf. And Surf is another one of those moves that I will put Surf lower on the priority list of the Aqua Jet moves you want to use, because it pretty much fulfills the same purpose as Cut. You can still armor it. So from point blank, you can still jump away from Cut. But level 2 Aqua Jet, you're not going to be able to jump away from Cut. But even at level 3, you can jump away from Surf. So Surf doesn't cover as many options. It's more minus on block. But the one thing Surf does do, is Surf does a lot of chip damage. It does significantly more than Aqua Jet into Cut. So I would weight this list like this. The best follow-up is Rock Smash. And then there's Cut, which is going to beat the things that beat Rock Smash. And then you have Surf, which is if you are really sure the opponent's going to block and you want to do a lot of chip damage. And then if you see your opponent is armoring in the middle of your Aqua Jet, then you have Waterfall. That's pretty much the only real usage for that. But there are some situational things, of course. Now talk a little bit more about Aqua Jet in dual phase, but basically you want to be getting your opponent into a range where you can pressure with that move. Because if you're plus 4 on block, and you have that counter armor, opponents are going to have to respect that. They try to jump out. Jump Y is okay at dealing with it, but it doesn't really do damage in the air like that. Jump Y is another one of those moves that's just really to make the opponent stand still long enough to block this Aqua Jet. And if your opponent's ever giving you space, the more space they give you, the better Aqua Jet gets. That's what makes the move so powerful. And Rock Smash pushes you out to a range where you can use a neutral Y into another move. Also, Aqua Jet does a lot of shield damage as well as chip damage. So if opponents are respecting you, you can break shields pretty fast. Now there's a different amount of gap depending on how far away you're using Aqua Jet. So for example, if you're using Aqua Jet into Waterfall from level 1 or level 2, there's a gap in between that. And if you use it from level 3, there is no gap. But I don't want to get too specific about the frame data and the gaps because one of the strongest practitioners of this character, Empoleon, thanks Wallet, I'm going to keep on saying this, but he doesn't know frame data. So you can get pretty far with this character even if you don't know frame data. I'm not going to get too in depth on that. So that's the general flowchart with Aqua Jet, and I'll talk more about it in dual phase. We also have forward Y. This move is an S tier projectile, which means that it can go through pretty much every other projectile in the game, and it'll trade with like lasers and things like that, which is a beam. You can also hold it and to go into the slide stance, and you can do some different moves from that, but I'm going to talk more about those in dual phase. So that's really where it's more important. And there's Defog, which is back A, which also puts you into the Aqua Jet stance, so you can do all the follow-ups from that. But primarily this is to erase projectiles. Very straightforward, not too much to say about that move. So let's go to the top 5 moves in dual phase. Again, the best attack Empoleon has Aqua Jet. Now, in field phase, if your opponent blocks Aqua Jet, and let's say they block Rock Smash, this is +4. If the opponent jumps, you can't homing attack, even though it has that animation, you can't really stop them. You really have to just do jump Y. That's the only real way that you can stop them from jumping in the air. But in dual phase, if someone blocks this, particularly if they're in the corner, you have some additional moves that you can use. You have 8Y, or you have 8A. You have 8A, which is Drill Peck, and this move, and what Drill Peck does, it has a very good anti-air hitbox. You can combo into it if the opponent's trying to jump out the corner. It's not that great mid-screen, obviously, but mid-screen, Rock Smash pushes back pretty far. Anyway, it actually pushes you back into level 3 Aqua Jet range, which is pretty good. You also have access to Jump A, which will actually wall spot and allow you to continue combo from there. That move is not safe if you're doing it from that high up. You also have 8X, which will also hit the opponent onto the wall. So those are the moves that you're really going to be using if you think opponents are going to jump out after you use Rock Smash. After using Rock Smash, you can again go for another Aqua Jet and pressure them again. You predict them to jump immediately after blocking the Aqua Jet. You can go for the cut. What you're really trying to do is just get your opponent to a situation where you can just break their shield if they're respecting you too much. If they start charging counter, because a lot of players are going to be charging counter attack to try to predict your Aqua Jet. Poke right on through that. Now when you do Drill Peck, you go into the Aqua Jet options again, so you're putting in that same exact pressure. Counterattack, this critical hits, this stuns, even if you haven't been charging it, if you get a critical hit. So you can get a full combo. I'll go over a couple combos a little bit later. Now let's talk briefly about that last thing that I did, which was 2X and Hydro Cannon. So 2X puts you into slide, and it's the same thing as if you hold Ice Beam and then you just keep on holding A. Go into slide, you can do a few moves from that. You can slide and do your Y string. You can slide till you do your X. So if you hold 2X, you go into slide. Now, normally you'll be traveling forward. So if you press A, you'll do this Hydro Cannon, which will hit your back to the opponent. And that is 0 on block. And that's pretty good because Drill Peck is 11 frame. It's -24 on block, but of course you can cancel it into the Aqua Jet follow-ups. And it is invincible against lows frame 1. So being at 0 point blank is quite good for Empoleon since it has access to that. So if you hold 2X and then you press back, you'll do a slide backwards, and that lets you actually shoot a beam at the opponent. That's minus 24 on block, but it obviously pushes them back quite far distance. And also in the reverse slide, you can do different moves. You can do that little diving thing, and then you can do this, which is Y, reverse slide Y. Also, as a decent point blank option, there's 2Y, which 2Y leads directly into Aqua Jet, and allow you to combo from that alone. Usually when you land level 3 Aqua Jet, you can just end in Rock Smash since it will knock the opponent down and give them a defense debuff, but if you want more damage, you can go for the Waterfall. And in the corner, you can get more if you're using Cut, and I'll show a couple combos at the end of this. But 5X crumples, and it can lead to full combos from that. Also, one other thing that you can do on block is when you're at level 3, if you think the opponent's going to grab you, you can jump, and you can use like Jump X. Also, Jump X, you can hold this to go into slide as well, or reverse slide, depending on which direction you hold. Last thing from a tactical perspective, Empoleon is always getting level 3 Aqua Jet when it is in burst. Also, this gives you a grab super. That's it for Empoleon's general strategy, but let me just give a couple sample combos so I can show you some kind of conversions that you can get from these moves. I'll go ahead and link a combo video from 21 hits that shows some dual phase combos that Empoleon has. And that is Empoleon's general game plan, top 5 moves in field phase, and top 5 moves in dual phase. If you want to see all the rest of my guides, I have links to them in the description. All my character guides, all 11 chapters of Pokkén Basics, and I have a Pokkén Basics Plus course if you want to take your game from an intermediate to an advanced level.